Assalamu alaikum. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the opening session of QITCOM 2011. The topic of our session this morning is about innovation in Arabic digital content. So we'll take the aspirations set by Dr. Hassa earlier this morning and the many insights that Guy has shared with us to put into the context of what does it mean for Arabic digital content. Let me start by observing that every aspiration and every goal that the state of Qatar has set in specific, and the GCC in general, have in a sense defined their future effectively in the context of a society that is knowledge-based, if I want to summarize this. And this hinges to a great extent on our ability to generate, aggregate, cross-fertilize, and disseminate information and content. So this morning discussion is not a nice-to-have feature about the digital age, but about creating a self-reinforcing cluster for Arabic digital content, innovation, and enactment. If you want to take a parallel, I'll allow myself to say that this is a 21st century manifestation of the House of Wisdom, Dar al-Hikmah, which back in the 9th century enriched the Arab world with insights and knowledge. That's essentially what we're trying to create in our environment of digital Arabic content. I usually structure my addresses with 3 points. So my first point is this aspiration far-fetched? I don't think so. First of all, and I think this is the takeaway that I could sort of observe from Guy's address, is that no single individual, no society, company, or nation has a monopoly on innovation, information, and knowledge, and certainly not in the digital age, where the traditional barriers to innovation, ideation, and dissemination have been mostly eliminated. Second, and most importantly, is that the emerging generation of Arab youth are demanding this content-rich and knowledge-based renaissance. In a recent research that was conducted by Booz and Company, where we probed into the mindset and the aspiration of youth in the Arab world, and the Arab world, in our case, we took a proxy as youth in Qatar, the United Arab Emirates, and Saudi Arabia. These youth consistently ranked, and I quote, technologically advanced nation, as a first quote, and, as a second quote, educated and intellectual society as the top 2 descriptors of what their nation should be reputed for. Grander statements to the effect of leaders in the Arab world or leading Arab country in the world has no resonance with the Arab youth anymore. They long for information, knowledge, technology, and capability-based advancement. And in this arena, content in its digital form and native Arabic takes center stage. Now to my next question. Now, if you accept this aspiration, then are we ready for the needed digital innovation that Dr. Hassa and Guy referred to this morning? I think so. Some might say that this sense of optimism is misplaced. As noted in our recent remark at the World Economic Forum, we choose to be relentlessly positive. Digital economies and the content they create do not rely on natural resources, but on smart, ambitious individuals, and many of them are in this room today. And as Guy noted this morning, there are many places on Earth that can aspire to be the next Silicon Valley, the next Beijing corridor, the next Singapore. And our region is progressing well along this path. In the 2010-2011 Global Information Technology Report published by the World Economic Forum, the UAE ranked 24th in terms of overall network readiness. Qatar ranked 25th, Bahrain ranked 30th, and Saudi Arabia ranked 33rd. While we still have a long way to go in terms of digitization levels, we are well ahead of more technologically and economically advanced nations. In fact, a closer look at the data reveals that Qatar ranks 4th globally, number 4, among all nations on digital readiness, followed by the UAE, ranked 6th, Saudi Arabia ranked 24th, and Bahrain ranked 30th. So as we build the infrastructure and the superstructure, we now must shift gears to what comes on top of it: content generation, coming into mainstream societies and economies. Bear in mind that as I put this forward to you, the generation we're dealing with, the Arab youth, is a generation that consumes in excess of 8 hours of digital media day in, day out. So unless we provide to them Arabic content that resonates to their culture and their language, we'll be missing out on an entire generation. Now to my third question. Where are we along the Arabic digital content innovation journey? Early days would be a generous assessment. What we're observing so far is a literal adaptation of traditional content into digital format. And these, in most cases, are deprived of significant innovation. Let me define what innovative Arabic content is. It is content that can effectively foster new knowledge and not the simple passage of information from point A to point B. It is content that can create interplay, cross-fertilization across multiple stakeholders, not limit the experience to a single-sided communication. So I communicate, you listen, and that's pretty much the end of the conversation. So effectively, Arabic digital content should create a transcendent web, an experience that cannot be created in our traditional content experience. And unless we fast-track our way into this innovation, and Dr. Hissa was very bold in her statement earlier this morning, we will miss on an entire generation. And more importantly is that the businesses that are content intensive, so businesses that provide a service based on content, will sooner rather than later become obsolete. Let me be provocative and take the GCC newspaper industry as a case in point, so the dailies that we read every day. In a recent research conducted by Booz and Company in 5 urban centers, Dubai, Abu Dhabi, Jeddah, Riyadh, and Dammam, we tested readers' behavior between the age of 18 and 35 in relation to traditional and digital media, so how they interact with these media. The findings were nothing short from surprising. 76%, so almost 8 out of 10, effectively said the following. Their readership of print media or print newspaper has either stopped, decreased, or will decrease in the next 24 months. In fact, 56% actually said we either stopped or we have decreased our consumption of traditional content. 56%. And 2 years down the road, 80% of this readership would be lost. You may be wondering where this readership has gone, and the answer is as follows: elsewhere in the digital world. In fact, only 23% of respondents stated that they will visit or they have visited the digital version of the print newspaper they usually read, stopped reading, or decreased reading. So 2 out of 8 have said the digital version of our newspaper is relevant to us for reading, and the others have gone elsewhere. So in conclusion, the aspiration to create a self-reinforcing and self-innovating cluster for Arabic digital content is a must-have to our region. As I said in the beginning, this is not nice to have, it is an absolute must. Because in doing so, we can gain the heart and the mind of an entire generation of Arab youth. And more importantly, Arabic can claim its due right as the language of insights and knowledge in our digital century. To explore more this topic, we've assembled an exceptional panel of practitioners, so people who will talk about their experience in bringing digital content to the masses, whether in Europe or, more importantly, in our part of the world. And they've been kind enough to share their effective experiences with the ups and the downs. So don't be disheartened if you are exposed more to the failures that have happened. We actually learn from these failures. And so I would like to introduce now